Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the JZS171 Toyota Crown manual conversion. Today, not many exciting things, I just need to clear a few things out. We need to see whether the seat fits with the handbrake. We're going to address the brake pedal because in the last video I didn't quite mention that the IS200 doesn't quite fit. So we're going to have a look at what we need to do and we probably see if we can rip some of the automatic stuff out as well. This is the two pedals side by side. This big one obviously is the automatic from the Crown and this is the manual from the IS200. So as you can see, they look fairly similar. This one is a little bit longer, well, quite a bit longer. But if you see from this side, we've got something which I'm not entirely sure what it is. It seems perhaps like a pedal position sensor or even a pedal pressure sensor, and there is no way of trying to adapt it onto there. As well as the pickup for the servo, for the brake booster, is in different position and it's as well as a sort of different pin. So we can't use the IS200. We will have to use this one. It is a little bit longer, so I'm not sure where it's going to sit, but I've created a template from the IS200. We're just going to use the rubber from there, draw it onto here, and then just cut the pedal down, make it essentially a manual pedal. Okay, and that's one manual pedal. Just going to remove the rubber, give it a quick coat of primer so it doesn't rust before I put the rubber back on. That's the new manual brake pedal. Now, one thing with these JZS, when I was removing it, strangely enough, you can't just undo this pin for the brake servo and then remove the pedal. This doesn't actually come out because it hits the steering column, so you have to undo the top bolt first, so then you can get the pedal out of the way to remove the pin. So obviously refitting is the reversal of removal, so I have to attach the pin first and then attach the top of the pedal. I don't think I can show you, but at least I'll try to explain to you. Pedals are mounted. I can't quite test the position because the seat is not in, which is going to be the next step. I put some boots, I guess you would call it a gaiter, on the handbrake. So I'm just going to refit the carpet so we can fit the seat and hopefully everything's going to fit nice. So it's quite tucked in there, not super ideal, but these armchairs are quite bulky. So what I'll have to do, I'm just gonna refit some of the trims so I can drive it onto the ramp, and I think I'm gonna tackle the gearbox, drain it and remove it. I've got the car in the air, so we're gonna get rid of the automatic gearbox. First up, gonna drain the oil. While that's draining, I'm gonna drop the mount, get rid of the prop shaft, disconnect the shifter there as well. So that will give us an access to the bolts around the bell housing, which we're gonna undo. Gonna keep these two easy accessible ones just so it doesn't fall. There is the flex plate and the torque converter. You undo through this inspection. We're gonna get rid of the cooler lines as well as the dipstick, and then we've got some wiring to disconnect as well. Let's do it. So I'm just going to undo the prop shaft, leave the bolts somewhere safe. Now the reason why I'm choosing the J160, because the gearbox well, it's a conversion that works nice. It's a 6-speed, it's a good gearbox. It's a lot better than the internet experts tell you, and far as my research goes. The prop shaft should bolt up just like the JZS100. So all you have to do is just to swap the front part of the prop for the manual IS, and in theory it should fit. If it doesn't fit, it's going to be a major setback. I haven't really got the money or time to be getting the custom prop shaft made. So fingers crossed, we won't find out until the gearbox is actually bolted up. Okay, now it looks like the Crown has got a little brace bracket under there as well, which is something that is not normally found on the IS 300 or 200, so we need to get rid of that as well by the look of it. Alright, so that on the ramp. Now, I just want to show you something, guys, quick. Let's take you off the tripod. Now, this is the center bearing mount, dome bearing people call it. Now, loads of people make the mistake, they just undo the bolts, 14, it drops everywhere because nothing's holding it in, obviously. Now, you've got the bolts with a little washer, and then under the bracket, or on top of the bracket, essentially, there is another washer. So you've got a bolt with a washer, bracket, and a washer to kind of space it down. Loads of people don't know, they just undo it, with a gun or whatever, it all drops down, and when they refit it, they put the washer under the other washer. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you're working on these chassis, that is not where the washer goes. This is what I was talking about. You've got that washer and this washer, it's almost a spacer. I don't think they're as thick on the Lexus cars. So yeah, don't forget, it doesn't go where it is now, it goes above the bracket. Okay, that's the torque converter bolts undone. Put them in the bin. Next up, I'm just going to get rid of the cooler lines. So there's a 10mm here, got a 12mm there, and undo it from the gearbox. I've got no use for them, so I'm just going to cut them with a big cutters like a pikey, and then I'm going to do the same to the dipstick as well, because I'm not using the gearbox. There's something not quite right with it anyway. So let's do it, make me feel like a man. Okay, that's one man. Oh no, we've got one more there. Okay, there's a 12mm holding the dipstick onto the inlet manifold. Okay, bin. Then this weird little bracket, see if it's gonna undo. Looks like it is. No, on the UK cars, normally you can't undo this. It's just so corroded. So good stuff we can. Hopefully the gasket's gonna stay intact. Wait. I've got left now is the wiring loom, and then obviously the bell housing bolts. I think that's it. I mean breather, but that normally comes off by itself when you pull the gearbox down. And the main plug here, exactly the same as the RS300. I know I keep going on about it. It's good for you to know. Alright, now all I got left is the, as I said, the bell housing bolts. I'm gonna keep these two easy ones for last. That sounds like a bell. Bell housing, get it? So they're mainly 14s and 17s, unless someone's been there before. Oh, wow. 14, 14, 14, gotta keep those. Jesus Christ. This has been done by a sumo. Bloody hell. That's the flex plate. Some people call it a flywheel. We've got a big oil leak from the rocker cover gaskets, which I've been putting off because obviously manual is more important, not. So I'm gonna get rid of the gear selector from inside the car. And that's it. Japanese hairpin with a little pearl on it. JDM pop. Okay, the open and dusting quite small, but we'll just have to see where the gearbox ends up. Give it a quick hoover, get rid of all the old backy. Right. Before I wrap it up today, I want to take the starter motor out because that's something I have to change as well. So let's do that quick, and I'm going to show you why it needs to be changed and then what I'm changing it with. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, that's the starter I just removed, which is a 1JZ starter, and here in the box is a 2JZ starter, and the difference is quite obvious. So if you are converting a 1JZ, you will need to get a 2JZ starter because the 1J starter does not fit in there because it's got this support for the bearing, but the 2J does not. So it bolts up beautifully. So that is why I am changing the starter motor. Now this one is readily available off the shelf. I know this is on the RTX, which does have a bad reputation, I guess, but it was 50 quid from Eurocar parts. So, and there was no surcharge, just listed as an RS300. But for you American boys, Euros is a bit like O'Reilly's, just maybe not as big. So you will need a 2JZ starter motor. I'm gonna head home. It was a long day. I'm not sure whether that came across on the video, but it was all little bits and pieces that had to be done. Nothing too exciting, but I will see you guys for part 3 very soon.